Hi, and welcome to drawingandpaintingforeveryone.com. In this tutorial, I complete the first study in my book, Painting Portraits from Photography. In a previous tutorial, Assignment 1, Grid Drawing Wash, I talked through, as you might get from the title, building the grid, doing the drawing, and even applying the wash. In addition to Assignment 1, I reference other tutorials. I reference creating a palette of grays and the 5-value system, all of which can be watched at richardvkirk.com. Just click on the tutorials button. So let's get started. Okay, I've completed the drawing and applied a wash. I've also mixed my palette and painted a card with my gray values. I can use this card from time to time to suggest which grays to pick. For example, this value is very close to 75%. And here I should use my 12% gray. And here I'll work with my 6% value, or near it. I'm not going to use this card to evaluate every gray, but I find it helpful to have a starting place. Students often ask me where to start their paintings. I'm right-handed, so I tend to start on the left side of my painting. Sometimes I'll start in the very top left corner, but often I start with the darkest value in this area. I'm painting the ridge shadow just above the folds in the eyelid. There's a lot going on in this small area, and students sometimes get lost in here. Take your time and pay attention to the reference and your drawing. It took me just over 45 minutes to paint this image, so I'm going to speed up the video from time to time and attempt to keep the tutorial to less than 10 minutes. One of the reasons I like my students to study the plaster cast is that it shows the volume so clearly. This cast shadow is difficult to see on a wet, glossy eye, but the iris is almost always darker up here. I'm convinced that learning to paint is more about learning to see than learning how to push around paint. The eye is clearly a sphere, and the eyelid covering the eye is also spherical. Think back to our discussion about the 5-value system. With that information at hand, I know to look for a highlight on this spherical surface. And here it is. Now I'll just push a little white paint on here to create the illusion of volume. Working this shadow has caused me to make this ridge shadow over the eye too light. I'll simply add my 75% gray value here and rework this area. I'm adding a mixture of pure white and my lightest value under this eye. Now I need to establish the edge of this bottom eyelid. I'll apply my 12% value across this edge and blend it down toward the cheek. I've been using a small flat brush for everything I've painted thus far, but I need a small point to get some detail in here, so I'll switch to a small round brush. After I've got the values in just the right place, I'll switch back to my flat brush to blend them together. I've made the value on this cheek a little too dark. Rather than introduce the gray value that matches this spot exactly, I'll add a small amount of pure titanium white. As I blend the white with the dark value, I'll create the value that I need. I'm going to stop working on this now. There are a few spots I'd like to rework and a few spots where the values aren't just right. But for the most part, I'm pretty happy with it. Well, there you have it, the eye of a plaster cast. I hope that was helpful. Thanks for watching.